Tracy, I don't think anyone would be able to hear that feeble attempt of a shout. Were you trying? If not, why say anything at all?
Get in there!
Despite the fact that this is meant to be the early hours of the morning, the amount of sunlight visible would suggest that this was filmed midday.
He's the boy who stole all my stuff at Berniewood! And he is the care worker who did nothing about it!
This exposition surprisingly feels quite natural. It's completely within Carmen's character to act this way, so the dialogue doesn't feel too forced, removing a sin. What I can't quite understand though is why there are only 4 children from Berniewood. Sure, it's better not to have too many additional characters in this story, but there's no explanation given for the absence of other kids. Berniewood is cheap to run because it has so many people under one roof, no? And also, why is Dennis the only care worker from Berniewood? That's right, Gus, keep your toast close. Tracy could be out to snatch it at any possible moment.
You remember Dennis? Dennis Stockel?
After a quick Google, it appears that the name Stockel means someone who is extremely determined. Thank God he doesn't want to take over Elmtree or anything.
Relax. I'm not here to take over.
Spoke too soon.
I've got plenty of experience with the care system.
Yeah, Tracy, you've got so much experience. You know, like the time you let a child climb up really high and nearly die after falling. Oh, that happened twice.
Nice.
Johnny, please don't praise Rick. He does not need to feel welcome here.
Can I play?
Gender stereotypes and heteronormativity in a children's show? Ooh, no thanks.
I have Tyler, Rick, and Kitty's name. I need to know yours.
Why?
I want to add you to my list in my notebook.
What if I don't want you to?
Why wouldn't you want me to?
Maybe I'm a spy.
You'd still have a name.
Gus being the best as usual.
It's Lizanne, with a L-I-Z at 2 ends and an E.
Lizanne, if that's how you spell your name, it's pronounced Z, not Z. I don't think her hair is quite this long.
Oh, well, this is nice. Where do you want this?
I made it.
It would have been great to have had longer with Kitty. Depicting people struggling with their mental health is incredibly important, and even more important considering this show's intended audience. I feel that Kitty was used for the wrong sorts of reasons, but more about that in a bit. So far, this is good. So, this is the first time we see Elektra's newly decorated room. Therefore, it is also the first time we see her pride flag. I'm going to add us in for queer baiting. Imagine how much more interesting a storyline we could have had with Elektra this series if the show had put some focus on her sexuality. Is homophobia one of the reasons her parents wanted nothing to do with her? Maybe, but it's never explicitly said, and I think it should have been. This is a really short, subtle, but close shot of Dennis that foreshadows future events. It's actually very, very good, removing a sin.
You've got this to yourself. It's so long since I've had to share. I've forgotten how. I mean, what if I touched them in the purse by accident? Like with that other girl's shampoo?
Is the acting meant to be quite so awful here? Yes, Lizanne the character is lying to Johnny about how she feels, but I don't think anyone would realistically fall for it. I'm adding us in because I just don't buy the performance.
That's better. Sorry. I'm being such a girl.
Shut up, Lizanne.
Sorry, I would have knocked, but I didn't have a spare hand.
Oh, it's okay. It's some letters from my dad. I like to keep them with me.
Well done, Johnny. I think you got away with that.
I've been up since 4 this morning.
Seriously though, I don't think Mike, Gina, Tracy, or Dennis for that matter, would be happy with Lizanne taking Johnny's room. Share with Elektra the Bestra.
Think I'll go back to bed?
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, right, okay. Right, yeah.
Johnny isn't really the type of boy to simp for a girl. He's controlling and slightly arrogant, not really the type of person to be attentive or submissive for someone he barely knows. This subplot portrays women and girls as hypnotic, which is weird. This is actually quite funny. It also serves as a decent introduction to Tyler's childish character, removing a sin.
Haha, the foaming volcano.
This story really doesn't understand Liam as a character. By this point, he's nearly 16, he should be well past childish pranks like this. Think about how much he learned from last series' Out of Control. In that episode, he had to take himself more seriously and understand that he can't mess around for the rest of his life. Liam can still be a clever, witty and funny character without forcing him to annoy others. Also, I refuse to believe he would warm to Tyler or have little sympathy for Carmen's experiences at Burneywood. Let's not forget, he decided to live on the streets rather than stay there.
The old ones are the best.
Most of what I've said there also applies to Frank, so another sin gets added. In fact, make it another 3 sins, because despite the 2 hardly being in the episode, they're still completely misused. Whilst this is, of course, visually spectacular, I don't think putting fairy liquid in the top of a toilet would have quite this effect. Need I say anything? This is phenomenal.
Hey, Carmen, look at this.
That is rank. I bet Tyler smokes.
I think it would have been a nice detail if there had been a line later on explaining where Tyler got this lighter from. Maybe it could have come from Dennis.
It's Tyler's stuff. We're gonna hide it and see how he likes it.
Carmen?
What? I'm only playing the same trick on him he played on me.
But it's not the same trick, is it, Carmen? He actually stole your stuff. You are merely hiding his. I really like the intercutting between Kitty and Electra's different reactions to this. It successfully and concisely communicates the 2 characters' traits and allows the audience to understand both perspectives. Whilst we, the viewers, find the fireworks exciting, just as Electra does, in reality there are plenty of people, and animals for that matter, that find fireworks scary or anxiety-inducing.
It's okay, Kitty. I think they're stopped now. Come here.
Okay, this is a fantastic bit of foreshadowing, removing a sin.
I didn't know there was money in it, and I've been asleep ever since. That's mine. I thought we were friends.
So did I.
But Johnny, I thought Lizanne was great. She managed to get the smell of smoke out and everything.
They're banged and rockets. Now the switching because someone stole Johnny's money.
You are joking me.
Where are you now, Harry?
Under the desk in the office. Jeff's frightened.
Okay, tell him I'm on my way.
Super Nanny to the rescue.
Who put glue in my shampoo?
I don't know, but that's definitely not your real hair. How?
Come on, let's get you outside, yeah?
It's an alright stunt. My main issue is that it's a huge contrivance for Kitty to have not stayed in her bedroom, which would have been a far quieter place compared to the hallway. It's just a bit strange that she decided to walk towards the noise.
Who are you?
She's Super Nanny. Who else would she be?
Shall I contact the secure unit? I wouldn't take her anyway. She's not bad enough. She put Tracy in hospital. And now, you made her worse.
This exchange sums up the main issue I have with the way the story handles Kitty. She's sort of depicted as a villain. Mike wants her to be locked away because he thinks she's bad and dangerous, when it should be pretty obvious that she just needs a lot of support and looking after. Kitty is not a bad person, and the fact that Mike, a person who cares deeply about the well-being of young people, doesn't understand that makes me question what the writers were trying to say with Kitty. Why is it that Dennis understands her more than Mike, Gina, or even Tracy? I'm pretty confident the show is trying to portray the right message, but I think it's slightly confused as to how best to do that.
They'll have to get rid of her.
Hush! I do feel sorry for Tracy. But that could have been me.
Kitty only goes off on one when someone tries to touch her.
But then I'm not going near her.
No, you shouldn't have to live with a head case like that.
She's not a head case.
Yeah, I hate that it's Rick I'm agreeing with.
Why would I want to resign? Because I'm taking over.
But Dennis, you said you wouldn't. I'll let you pause this and read it in your own time. The last rule is especially funny.
Right! Who set off the fire alarm?
There were 8 cuts in that 5-second clip. Whilst it's incredibly stupid to walk into a burning building, it is entirely within Tracy's character to do so, removing a sin. It's also interesting that Dennis does the same thing. I think you can make a good argument for Dennis being a generic bad guy stock character, but I actually think there's a bit more to him than that. He's not a good person, but he is somewhat brave, and there's a sense that age has made him hard. In my headcanon, that guitar is the same guitar that Tracy and the other kids bought Mike in the first series of TSOTB. It's probably coincidental that a guitar was used to show things being destroyed, but I'll remove a sin anyway.
No matter how bad the fire is, there's always something left behind.
Ashes, usually.
We just want to know where you got them from.
Saf used to burn them. Did you get them from her room when she left?
Unless my memory's poor, we've never actually seen Sapphire burn these sticks. As a result, this red herring is just a bit rubbish.
Well, 2 fires and 2 care homes in less than a week. Don't you think there's a connection?
As revealed later on in the episode, the 2 fires are completely unrelated. So Tracy is actually wrong here.
My mum bought me a new dress every birthday. I kept them all. It's like I've lost another part of her.
There's nothing emotionally moving here. We've never seen Helen buy Carmen a dress. Instead, we're just told that it's something she has done every birthday. I can't feel sorry for Carmen when I've never seen her care about these items before. Also, does it even make sense for Helen to have bought Carmen dresses? I thought the entire point was that Carmen's mum forgets about her. Also, what were the dresses doing in the attic? Also, why is Lily here?
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Shut up, Lizanne.
This won't take long. Look, I'm sorry to ask, but I really need to borrow some cash.
No. Hey, you're right. Didn't take long.
More moments like this with Liam, please.
You believe me, don't you, Frank?
Yeah.
I believe Frank falling for Lizanne more than I believe Johnny falling for her, but I still don't believe it at all.
The notebooks. I'm sorry. This is all I could save. Do you want to keep them?
No, they're not the same. Throw them away.
This is sad. It works well. Just wish there was more of this. The fire, and Tracy's fall actually, have very few consequences.
Smoke everywhere.
Kitty, I don't know how you're creating that smoke, but please stop.
Basically, we don't know how the Burneywood fire started, and it could have been any one of them.
It's at this point where it becomes really obvious how convenient it is for there to only be 4 kids at Burneywood. I always imagine the place is really overcrowded and noisy, like what Tracy and the kids turned Elm Tree into in the Series 2 opener. Other than Dennis, there's nothing really wrong with the place.
Everyone was present.
No way would Gus write Jeff as a person present.
I was with T.
Yeah, all morning. Then we found Lily.
Lily definitely did it.
He could be a pyromaniac.
Tracy's face here is absolutely worthy of 3 sins being removed.
A pyromaniac is someone who likes to start fires for fun.
I knew that.
So did I, Tracy. So did I.
Yeah, but she set off the alarm. She wouldn't have started the fire.
She might have done. It's called hero syndrome.
This scene is great. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Tracy and Gus together are wonderful to watch.
Does Anne reckon she was with Frank?
Frank confirmed it.
Right.
I can't even add a sin for Rick being in the scene, because he isn't annoying. Not yet has he replaced Liam, so he can actually function as his own character.
My mum is getting out of hospital. A psychiatric ward. It's just been sectioned.
Shut up, Lizanne.
Are they looking at us?
They're looking at you.
Good.
2 women wrote this episode. Somehow. Thank you, prop department, for leaving that there for Chris Slater to pick up. As I said earlier, Frank should be more grown up than this.
All my memories. Thanks, Kitty. I'm sorry. I get it.
This scene is short, but it's very strong. Carmen accepting that she has to be gentle with Kitty, and being fine with that, is a very good message to send for the audience. We have to be accepting of others, and understand that some people respond in unconventional ways to things. Kitty, when portrayed rightly, is genuinely one of the most interesting and moving characters in the entire show. Why they have her as a suspect for starting the fire, even before Dennis frames her, I don't know. Perhaps the reason was to make a point of people's prejudice and ignorance, but I don't think it quite comes through. Anyway, for this scene, 5 sins get deducted.
It's alright.
Make that 3 times Tracy has let children fall from heights.
After all, you're only young, but Gus Carmichael could have been killed today. I've been reviewing your record over the past 2 years, and to be honest, I can't believe you've kept your job this long.
That's because Tracy's a good care worker.
Well, obviously you think so. You've been covering for her from day one.
Dennis has a point, you know.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Tracy.
Bye.
Seriously though, why is no one protesting? Liam should be shouting at Mike, telling him to fight back against Dennis. It's not as if Dennis can just make himself head care worker without approval.
You can't let Frank get ripped off and hurt.
What can I do?
Scan her.
How?
Thought you were supposed to be the expert.
They care more about Lisanne than they do Tracy. Insane.
Frank's really sweet, but we're not exclusive or anything.
Shut up, Lisanne. I don't want to keep talking about you and the awful stereotypes you personify.
We could move it to Tuesday.
No, because look what's happening.
Tracy's knocking here is perfect. Kay Purcell was always brilliant, and this stare was one of her best.
But Kitty's vulnerable. How could you do that to her?
Do what? You've got no evidence whatsoever.
We'll let the police decide that, yeah?
Or you could take a seat and write your letter of resignation.
I don't know why they don't just call the police. The man's not going to keep his job. What they're doing is technically blackmail. Ding dong, the Wicked Witch has gone. I'm actually going to remove a sin because at least she never returns.
Stacy. Tracy. Sorry.
I like the little sorry Dennis gives here. Whilst he doesn't like Tracy, he has been defeated.
I was like you once.
There's so much mystery and intrigue with this short line. It somehow creates an entire backstory for Dennis that we can only imagine. It's really great.
You are joking me.
Where are you now, Harry?
Under the desk in the office. Jeff's frightened.
Okay, tell him I'm on my way.